So Chris had her first GYN appointment in 2007 at the age of 20. And when we went to the gynecologist, who was new to both of us, the gynecologist recommended the HPV vaccine. I'm usually leery about new products, new drugs, but I've never really thought twice about vaccines. So Chris did get the first shot in August of 2007. And what the gynecologist told us was just that it was safe and effective and would prevent cervical cancer. We weren't told of any adverse side effects. She had an appointment to get the second shot. And I also had arranged for her to have a first-time physical with my doctor, a primary care doctor, because she was switching from a pediatrician to a regular doctor. So on that same day, she got the shot, the second shot. The doctor noticed that there was an irregular heartbeat. She had also had this chronic congestion, and that wasn't clearing up either. When she went back to school, she did get the echocardiogram in February, and that came back negative. They said there were no problems structurally with her heart. We thought we had, done what was recommended by the doctors and that everything would be okay. But on June 3rd, she had gotten her third shot, and she was complaining of feeling tired. And about 3 days later, she was saying she felt dizzy when she stood up. She developed a rash, and we didn't know what this was all about or even that there was some kind of connection. Not having any idea that it could be related to vaccination, we, were saying, well, maybe you're tired because of working this semester and, you need some rest. How about if you stay here another week? But no, she wanted to get back to school so she could be there for this training for the job. I was going to go up and I was going to make sure she got the tests for allergies and, see what the fatigue and the dizziness was about. Follow up on the rash. But that did not happen. Because before 2 weeks went by, some police came to the house to tell me that she was found dead. She was found dead in her bed at school, and they didn't know what happened. I was very, the first thing you do is you think they've got the wrong place, and, this can't be. I just saw her 2 weeks ago, and when you become aware that something's happened to your child and there's no explanation, you're just driven to find out what happened. So the pathologist made a special effort to speak with colleagues and to, they extended the time of the investigation, and they definitively ruled out that there was anything wrong with her heart. The pathologist said cause of death was undetermined. Merck reported the cause of death was viral infection. And I was clueless how they determined that, since no one had ever said that. They said they only report what's reported to them. And I said, well, who reported that to you? And I went back to all of the sources, and I got in writing that no one had told them that. And this took several months. And then they finally, retracted that. That left us, with no real explanation. And then one night, her dad heard that there had been deaths associated with Gardasil. And as I researched online and began to read other people's stories and talk to other mothers, I realized, it was more than likely Gardasil. But I knew that I needed to have an expert investigation. Now, I thought that expert investigation would be conducted by the CDC. You would think in serious cases where there's death, that they would have people come to your house, that they would have some kind of questionnaire, that they'd want to know pre and post vaccine symptoms and so forth. They do nothing like that. They did get her medical records, and they did conduct one test to see if she had streptococcus, and she didn't. And so that was the end of their investigation. And yet, they will say online that, deaths have been investigated and be determined to be due to other causes. I did get an attorney, and through the attorney, we had 3 world-class experts. And all 3 determined that Chris died from an autoimmune response to the vaccine, which caused the arrhythmia. It took many years to have a hearing, and we are still waiting for the outcome of our case. Gardasil is manufactured in a way like no other vaccine. It was a special process that was discovered by the National Institutes of Health. And the National Institute of Health has a patent on it, gave the patent to GlaxoSmithKline and to Merck, and they get royalties on the sale of it. So they're vaccinating the whole population for something for which the risk is minimal, less than 1%, at an average age of 54. The average age of onset is 54. It just makes no sense. It's not long-acting. It's a slow-growing cancer. It can be treated other ways. So you're left with only one explanation for them pushing this vaccine, and it has to be to make money. It's one thing if you lose a child through natural causes or through an accident that you had no control over. But when you've lost your child and she was healthy, and you took her for the shots, and you paid for the shots that killed her, that's another story. And that's just wrong.